וגם יש לנו סיפור מעניין על בירה אלכסנדר, מי שמכיר, מי שמע, מי מכיר? לפני שבועיים או שלושה התפרסמה ידיעה שבירה אלכסנדר גייסה 1.3 מיליון שקל תמורת 10% מהמניות שלה. אז לא רק בהייטק אפשר להקים חברות גדולות. אחד המשקיעים שלה הוא שלמה ינאי, שבעבר ניהל את טבע, את מכתשים אגן. אנחנו מתחילים את החלק השני, אנחנו עומדים בתחרות מול מדע על הבר, אנחנו יודעים את זה, אנחנו רוצים לגמור בזמן, אז בואו נתחיל בזמן. אילן, המיקרופון הוא שלך.
רק שנייה, לפני שנותנים לי את המיקרופון. Yeah. Oh, that's what I just asked. It's going to be in English. Okay? I'm not going to say much about the people. Just a minute. We have my piece of paper over here. We wanted to add, beyond the great presentation by Andrew about our program, we thought it would be very beneficial that you guys hear about successful entrepreneurs from Israel doing business in New York, and to give you guys the entire ecosystem, see that it's possible. So I'd like to invite, first of all, I would like to actually thank the 3 entrepreneurs that came. It was very nice of them to come and support our program as well. So Zohar, Dayan, the CEO, co-founder and CEO of Wibbitz, and I assume everybody knows the company, will be the first presenter telling the story. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Zohar. I'm the CEO of Wibbitz. I'll tell you a bit about what we're doing at Wibbitz, just so you're familiar with the idea, and then I'll share a bit of our story on the funding process and growing as a startup, and finally, managing to do most of our business overseas, actually mostly in New York, actually. So at Wibbitz, we created a technology that can automatically turn long text articles into short videos, completely automatically by an algorithm which analyzes the text and automatically converts it in almost real time into an experience that you can just click play and watch. Now most people right away ask, how do you turn text into video? What does that look like? So here you can see a quick example of how a text article would look like. This example is on a mobile phone. Not a very compelling experience with the small screen, small font, and so on. So within seconds after it goes to our platform, this is what comes out of it.
Gal Gadot, an Israeli actress best known for playing Giselle in 3 of the Fast and Furious films, has been cast as Wonder Woman in the upcoming Batman vs. Superman film. Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck will join her as Superman and Batman, respectively, in Zack Snyder's follow-up to this summer's Man of Steel. Believe it or not, this is the first feature film to include Wonder Woman's character, who director Snyder called in his statement, arguably one of the most powerful female characters of all time and a fan favorite in the DC universe. Scheduled for release in theaters on July 17, 2015, production on the film will begin soon.
Cool, right? This is all generated by a machine. There was no human intervention. It takes us 5 seconds to generate a video, and we're doing this at very, very large scales today. We're creating more than 10,000 videos on a daily basis. How long can it be? The video? Well, it's a good question. It's actually a video summary. So we take the entire article, we analyze it, we summarize it, and then we visualize it by matching the most relevant video footage, images, infographics like you saw, and automatic narration as well. So usually the videos are on average 40 seconds long. So it's a very short and concise experience. From what we've learned, short form video is the most engaging today. On the web, people don't have any attention span to spend more than a minute on anything. So it's a very quick and easy way for them to consume content. Now, a bit of our story, how we started up as a company. I founded the company while I was still in college with a friend of mine from the same class, Yotam Cohen. So we actually got accepted into this very unique entrepreneurship program at the IDC called the Zell program. So while we were still in school, our entire last year of studies, we were building a real-life company. So all our classes, if it was a marketing course, we did a marketing plan for our company. If it was a finance course, we did a business model for the company, and so on. So we actually had the privilege of creating a real-life company while we were still in the academic environment. Now, we were obviously both of us still working in our day jobs. Living in Tel Aviv, having an apartment is not very cheap these days. So we used to, get together in the evenings, in the weekends, work out from cafes, and we managed to create a prototype of the product and the technology, which is, as you can imagine, pretty advanced. The first product was, it looked like crap, basically. And we tried to raise money for the company. So we were meeting investors. We went to the States. We went to local VCs. And everybody said, guys, you got a great idea. You look like great guys. Why don't you, work on the product a bit and come back to us? So, of course, that's what we did. We continued working on the product. We got it looking pretty good. We went back to the same investors, and they said, wow, you did a great job with the product. Why don't you get some traction, some people using it, and then come back to us? So we realized it's not just a very easy thing to raise money these days. People actually, especially experienced investors, they want to know they're investing in something which is pretty much risk-free these days. So we decided eventually to give it our full shot and dedicate 100% of our time to the company and to the idea. It was a very risky move, like I said, having an apartment, trying to maintain sort of a normal life while you're an entrepreneur is not easy. But we did it. We said, we're going to give it our shot. We're going to jump in the water and see what happens. So for the next 6 months, we continued, working on the product, meeting investors. We got a pretty good ecosystem around the company. And, one day we were in the office, and the product was okay. It was looking pretty good. And, we said, well, why shouldn't we just launch the site, see what happens? Just turn, click of a button and it's live. What will happen? Even though it wasn't, perfect yet. So we started seeing, some people getting to the site, using it. We actually built this dashboard that you can see how many people were using it. So it was going up from 7 to 10. We were so happy with each one. It was doing shots in the office. And one day we were meeting with an investor. I think it was 2 days after. After we had a series of tens or even more than 100 meetings, I think. And we were talking about the company, and towards the end of the meeting, we showed him this dashboard. And as we were talking, the numbers started going up pretty quickly. And he said, what's going on here? He said, I don't know, people are starting to use it, I guess. So we started the meeting at 120, got to 130, then it started slowing down. And he said, if this gets to 135 by the end of the meeting, you got my money. And we won $100,000 from it. So of course, I try to talk a lot and make the meeting as long as possible. And finally, it reached 135 and said, "Stop talking now. You got my money." And it's kind of like a snowball effect. Once we got that, then we started telling previous investors that we met with, we got 100,000 already committed. Are you interested? And said, yeah, maybe it sounds interesting. So suddenly, they were more interested in the company, and we managed to raise close to $500,000 just 2 months after that. So that got us, to the initial stage of getting. We had a small office, pretty small room, kind of like size of my bedroom today. But we managed to really, get more people, get more tech guys. We managed to grow to 6 people and get a lot of traction on the product. We got about 20,000 websites using it after 1 year. which was pretty significant traffic, more than 20 million videos viewed each month through our platform. And that was just with $500,000. And suddenly the phone started ringing again. The big investors that we met with in the beginning started calling us, saying, "Hey, how's it going? We saw you in the paper. Do you need any money?" And we said, "No, we're fine." And when you don't need any money, that's when they want to give it to you. So one day I was going through our feedback emails we used to have on the site. A lot of spam used to come to it. But I was going through it, and one email caught my eye, and this guy said he represents Mr. Li Ka-shing from Hong Kong. And he saw an article about us on Business Insider, I think it was, and he would be interested in learning more. I've never heard of Li Ka-shing before in my life. And I said, "Yeah, we'll schedule a call." So we talked. I checked after the call, who is this Li Ka-shing? And turns out he's the 8th richest person in the world, richest man in Asia. Now he's pretty well known in Israel too, after he made several investments. But we were actually one of his first investments in Israel. And he invested over $2 million in the company back then. Till today, invested even more. And after us, he invested in about 20 more Israeli companies during the course of 2 years. So I think he's today the most active investor in Israel. One of the biggest acquisitions lately was with Waze. And all the money he got from Waze, which is an interesting story, $130 million, he donated back to the Technion. So they're great investors to have on board with us. And that managed to really propel the company forwards. Today we're close to 20 people in the company. And like I said, we're mostly doing business with brand name publishers. So today we're working with companies like Forbes, The Telegraph, the Daily Mirror, Dallas Morning News, Wall Street Journal, all the big guys, which is great for us. It's a very long sales cycle. It's not very easy. Being an Israeli company in the media business is especially not easy. You need to do a lot of traveling, mostly to New York. That's where kind of like the media hub and publishing hub of the world is located at. So I spend quite a bit of my time going back and forth, and I'll probably be moving there in about 2 months, finally, which is also, a big challenge, I think. Being away from your team and your company. I see it, when I have long trips. Communicating is not easy. The travel is not easy. There's always some sort of the distance does what it does naturally. But I think it's super, super important to move there as fast as possible. I think if I would have done it again, I would have moved much earlier, because I think it would have pushed the business side much faster. And the connections that you make on the ground are so valuable. Every trip, for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you meet so many people, and you kind of get, there's like this group, there's like a tight-knit group of startups in New York, and if you get into that, you know all the investors, you start meeting all the publishers, everybody starts to know you, they see you in meetups, and I think, the time that I spend there is priceless. So I would encourage anyone, if they can, to move as fast as possible. I think it, especially if you're in the media business, digital business, I think that would be New York, more consumer side. Maybe West Coast would be right for you. Now, before I answer your questions, just a few tips for anyone starting up their startup these days. So, like I said, I believe just jump into the water. You got nothing to lose in the beginning. The opposite, you're going to get feedback. You're going to understand your market better. You're going to understand what the need is better. One of our investors, he told me once, if you're not ashamed of your first product, then you're not doing something right, and you're waiting too long. You got to launch it, because it's never going to be perfect. And if you wait, you're going to wait forever. Second thing is staying focused. It's so easy to think your idea is going to work great for this market and for that market, and maybe we should do this and add more features. I really believe in keeping it simple and focusing, being laser focused on one specific thing, and then replicating that success once you've reached it. Not very easy. Of course, breaking walls. For whoever was in the army, you're constantly going to reach new walls as a startup. One day you're feeling super high, and the next day you reach another wall, and you just gotta, in my mind, believe that you just gotta break one wall after the other, and they're just gonna keep coming. They don't end. And eventually hold on tight, and be committed, because it's gonna be a bumpy ride. And I think choosing which startup you really believe in is super important, because you're going to dedicate every single day and every single hour of your life to this company. And if it's not something that you're willing to deal with on a daily basis, every single moment of the day, then think about that carefully, because I would choose something that you're very passionate about, and something that, if it's successful, you're going to spend quite a few years with this company and with this idea. So, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Yeah.
How does your company generate revenue? Do you build these publishers to do this service? Is that basically what the revenue model is?
No. Today, video is the most valuable type of media on the web in terms of advertising. Video CPMs, advertising generates on average today $25. If you compare that to normal display advertising, like the banners that you have on websites, they generate $1 to $10 max.
Also, you can say like YouTube, you put banners on videos.
So what we do is we put pre-rolls. So the pre-rolls is when you click play on a video on a news website, you see like a 15-second long advertisement. That moment, you're putting a lot of money into the publisher's pocket. It's what's known as a captive audience. So it generates a lot of money. The problem is today that generating high-quality video is very expensive. So no matter how big you are and how many resources you have, producing video is a very timely process, very expensive process. For every video, you need a cameraman, an editor. The tech guy usually takes about 1 to 4 hours at least to produce a video. For us, it takes 5 seconds. What's that?
I watch a lot of interviews on Bloomberg.
Yeah.
They all do that.
Well, that's true. That's true. And Bloomberg is a good example, because they have a TV channel, so they have tons of videos. But someone like the Chicago Tribune or the New York Post, they don't have a video channel that they can just pull videos from. They need someone actually in-house creating those videos, or they need to buy them from someone. So we leverage the power of video within, with their own content, their own existing content.
So what if you have something that's more than just that much of text? It's uploading 50 pages of text. What do you do?
So we currently have a limit on how much you can do. So it's mostly standard articles. I think we have a limit for 5,000 words. Yeah. And we usually summarize that to about 20% of the original.
How much do you invest in doing just the normal stuff for summarizing?
It's something that we're continuously improving. So I don't know if there's a time frame for it, but a few months, a few good months. Well, we thought about it, but like I said, we're focused right now, doing something and doing it good, and maybe in the future we'll open some of the cool stuff that we've developed. It's a good question. So we started with full support for English, of course, and we built everything very flexible with the notion that we knew that we're going to move to more languages. So we just launched Spanish, and by the end of this year we're going to launch German, French, Portuguese, and next year Japanese. Hebrew is a difficult language, you know?
That includes the narration.
It includes the narration, everything. Yes.
Another question for you. What is the material correctly for this movie?
Yeah, so all the media that we use is fully licensed. We work with the top news agencies around the world, like Reuters and Getty Images. That way we know, of course we pay for the license, so there's no copyright issues. And that way we pull the most relevant, accurate, and recent content that's available. So, it's the same sources that the top TV channels pull their content from.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you very much, Zohar.
Yeah, I'm sticking around.